All right, we have another Warhammer World Cup series between Blaquenyte and xNavigator. And I know the names are on the wrong side. One of them's not centered. I will fix that right now. I know the names are on the wrong side for this fight. These degenerates. It was a mishmash of who sent me what, so I just picked a side for both of them. I'm sorry. I blame the players for not fucking one person sending in. All right, so first game for xNavigator, best of 5 in the Warhammer World Championship. Loser goes home, winner continues on in the bracket. 2 Bull Centaur renders, one of which is Hash's Dark Ravagers, the other one is the Great Weapon variant. An Iron Demon, 4 Chaos Dwarf Blunderbusses, and then double Taurus in the sky. One is a Bale Taurus, one is a regular. We have a Demon Smith Sorcerer of Death with his heal for the Iron Demon, and then Spirit Leech, and then we have a Metal Caster with Final Transmutation and Searing Doom. On the other side for the High Elves, it is water time. Sea Elemental, triple Oceanid, and then a bunch of Ship's Company, an Archer in the back. We do have Sea Lord Acelin on the sky, Caradrian on his Frostguard Phoenix, and then a Mage of Life with Earthblood. Both sides going very elite. I can see why this is the meta into the Chaos Dwarves. Their fire-based weaponry would do reduced damage versus the Oceanids with their superior fire resist, physical resist, and missile resist. So really not nearly as much burst damage as the Chaos Dwarves are used to getting out. Now still over time they will get these guys. It just takes a lot longer and multiple volleys crushing into those Oceanids, still not even killing them yet. Chaos Dwarves seem to have a pretty clever build though, just going very narrow and really focusing down the elementals with Bull Centaur renders, but also their spells are very good for it. Final Transmutation can punish a blob like right here. Seems fine. Sea Lord Acelin trying to jump in. Don't know why he particularly was brought. I guess he's just a dragon duelist of some kind, but I don't know. I actually don't know how much cheaper he is than Emmerich or whatever. Some sort of circle was cast. Looks like it's an Earthblood. I'm really waiting for a Final Transmutation to hit this area. Seems like a great time for it. As the Blunderbusses are still trying to peel themselves, they did take care of one group of Oceanids, and now they're just trying to kill Ship's Company that are slowly swarming them. We do seem to have a big single entity blob fight. The 2 Tauruses versus the Dragon, Sea Elemental, and Frostheart Phoenix Caradrian. Support, either side has support. One has Bull Centaur renders, the other one has Oceanids and Ship's Company. It does seem that the High Elves are getting the better of the blob fight, again, until the Final Transmutation comes down. That could shift all of that. I haven't seen a lot of spells from the Chaos Dwarves, so I have to hope they're just trying to save Winds of Magic for a big Final Trans, as they're losing their Demon Smith Sorcerer. That's pretty bad. They're losing their heal for their Iron Demon later on, and this does seem to be the Final Trans we were waiting for. Our leadership is abandoning the Sorcerer Prophet of Metal as he barely tries to get out of there. Huge Final Transmutation, though. Hits everybody. And it was overcast, so it's still ticking away on that elemental and all of these units. We're about to lose one of the Oceanids. Balance of power is in favor of the High Elves for now. They do have more healing as well, which is a little concerning, as Hash's Dark Ravagers are going to get a rear charge on the Oceanids that are harassing the Blunderbusses. Sea Elemental's half HP. Plenty of healing left to go. Balance power is evening out a little bit. That Final Trans got us about 1600 value, maybe not just from the spell. Obviously, he has been fighting and breath attacking, but it was a good spell regardless. Speaking of breath attacks, Acelin just throws one down on some rallying Blunderbusses, trying to get rid of them. They do hold. They are dwarves of sorts, even corrupted by the forces of chaos and power and greed. Still dwarves, still gonna hold as they shoot the charging dragon in the face. Bale Taurus Lord deciding whether to rear charge Acelin or to dive down on Caradrian. Looks like he had a little moment of doubt, but did end up fighting Acelin. And this is a great position for the Chaos Dwarves right now. Black's in a lot of trouble. Oh, the crossfire. Throwing guard mode on and just lighting him up with these blunderbusses. Big damage onto Acelin. You can see the balance of power shifts in kind. And he's still getting harassed on his way out. The Iron Demon is now moving towards those archers. Going to get a nice side shot down those. But Hash's Dark Ravagers continue to fight Oceanids. They have been surprisingly tanky, those Dark Ravagers. Earthblood was cast down on these big single entities, but in goes the Iron Demon. Choo-choo, straight through the archers. Decent damage, and it's going to terror out them pretty soon, forcing them away. Demon Smith Sorcerer is back. He probably still has, yeah, he has both of his heals. He needs to throw those out, honestly, because there's a cooldown on him. It's not like you can just do one after the other real quick, and that Iron Demon needs help, so got to be critical. If you're going to take the healing caster guy and not use the heal, that does piss me off quite a lot, so please use it. Please heal the Iron Demon. Please. 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 Oh, Hash's Dark Ravagers have Guardian. Yeah, that made the blob fight a little more manageable. Now, ooh, the Oceanids don't have magic attacks, even though they seem like they would. I'm not advocating for buffs for the Oceanids. It just seems weird that they don't have magic attacks. The Iron Demon is going to fall, though. The Chaos Dwarfs really have not done enough to help it out, despite bringing the heal, just not using it at all. And the Iron Demon is questionable. More power for it as it gets acceleration to get away. Hash's Dark Ravagers are going to come peel for the little Iron Demon that could. Demon Smith Sorcerer is going to fly away. Bro, just heal it. Why? Why are we not healing it? 84 HP. Hash's Dark Ravagers pulled up. Listen, I'm not trying to be a dick, but if you used more power on it to get it away, you ran Hash's Dark Ravagers, so clearly you give a shit about this unit. For the love of God, heal it. Heal it. Use the goddamn ability. Okay. All right. I've calmed down. Bounce power is in the favor of the Chaos Dwarves. Aislin's about to rout. Sea Elemental's having a tough time, and there is a game-winning Final Transmutation down on the blob. Healing of the High Elves couldn't hold on. They were very tanky, and they lasted forever, but they just didn't have a lot of damage, those Oceanids and the Sea Elemental. More about tanking damage than dealing it. Caradrian also just tends to tank damage quite a lot. Did not get a lot of damage out, I don't suspect, yeah. This tournament is having a bit of an obsession with Caradrian, and so far, I think I've seen him in 5 games this tournament, and I've been impressed with him in literally 0. Caradrian's almost routing, the Sea Elemental's almost crumbling. That Oceanid summon that comes from it when it is low enough is fading away under the pressure of army losses as I turn my phone's ringer off so it doesn't make noise anymore. So a reminder, the name tags at the top were wrong for this game, as xNavigator wins and Blaquenyte loses. The left side was Navi for this game. Bull Centaur renders did pretty well. Iron Demon existed, which technically means if it lived the whole game, it didn't technically need the heal because having more HP wouldn't change its damage output, right? Right. Cool, human boy. Yeah. Question, why take the fucking heal if you're not going to use it? I'm pissed. Anyway, the Lord did well. The blunderbusses did very well. For Black, Aislinn did fine. Caradrian, again, just continues to constantly disappoint me in this tournament. I am really not a fan of him. His price point is too high. I just don't think he does enough, unfortunately. He has the stats to do good, but just can't utilize them for some reason. I don't know. He's just kind of a bouncy ball that jumps around the map. It doesn't get much accomplished. Sea Elemental did very well. Oceanids struggle to get their value back, and Ships Company just ships companied around, not really expecting a whole lot of value from them. Have a ping. Why? Okay, it's not important right now. See you in game 2. Game 2. Now the name tags are correct. Blaquenyte on Dark Elves versus Navi on Norska. Oi. Dark Elves and Norska, both very meta factions. Norska after their DLC, Dark Elves for like the last 3 years straight. I love how the many rounds of buffs and nerfs Dark Elves have gone through to still just consistently be meta. They've, okay, not never, but for a long time, they have not been the strongest faction in the game. Not no one. A lot of people would agree that they're not the best faction, but they're consistently meta because they're always good. You know, they're good. They have enough units to just be good. What frustrates me about Dark Elves is how long they've coasted on like the same 4 units. They have so many units that are absolute dog shit, but like enough of them are good enough to just keep them in it. Cold One Knights, Dark Riders, Dark Rider Peter Crossbows, Scourge Runner Chariots, and then a bunch of really good Caster Lords are just enough to keep Dark Elves relevant for years and years. Their infantry has always been subpar. Their monsters have always been subpar, etc., etc. Moving on. We got a game to cast. Wulfric the Wanderer for Norska and a Shaman Sorcerer of Metal. Final Transmutation, Searing Doom, and Plague of Rust. But we are seeing the latest Dark Elf iteration, Doom Bolts, very powerful after their buffs, harassing Wulfric. 4 Marauder Horsemasters, 4 Skin Wolves, a front line of Marauder Bearmen, simplicity at its finest. For the Dark Elves, we have Cold One Knights, Dark Riders, Witch Elves, and Dread Spears, with a Sorcerers of Dark with only Doombolt. I don't see Witch Elves a lot. There was a time when they were incredibly meta after they got their buffs, and they just kind of fell off. I still like them, but I'm not a good enough Dark Elf player to pretend that they're meta. I just like them. I think they're fun. You're going to see them jump in here. Good play to activate their Witch Brew immediately. There really is no reason to hold on to it. It doesn't give you a leadership buff. So if you hold on to it, the more models that'll be dead, the less damage you'll output. So I really do advocate for this, where you just chuck them at the front line and then use Witch Brew right away. I did see a Sea Fang go through that Witch Elf that is dead, and that is a lot of the reason you haven't seen too much of these guys recently, is they are 750 gold, so when they get absolutely shit canned, they do have a pretty tough time. We'll see how they do against Marauder Bearmen. Marauder Bearmen's stats are all right, but their main reason for taking them is, one, immune to psychology, but also an incredibly large health pool, which Witch Elves, with their abundance of damage and bonus versus infantry, could theoretically chew through, as you are seeing those Bearmen start to suck and die. Meanwhile, Marauder Horsemaster's getting caught sleeping a little bit in a very chaotic game. That is understandable. They start to pull away now, and Skinwolves are trying to feast upon the Cold One Knights, but left to stand and fight, the Cold One Knights will win. Armored, anti-large, armor-piercing versus just anti-large would not go well for the Skinwolves in aggregate. And the Cold Knights have Murderous Prowess coming. There it is. So they're getting a big old stat boost. Now the Skinwolves are in a bit of trouble. Balance power is slightly against Norska, as the Witch Elves do seem to be prevailing on that front line. They had a ton of Dread Spear support, so not pretending they did it alone, but they do seem to be getting a decent amount of kills in those Bearmen, about 50 on this one, 42 on another, 54, 66. So yeah, the Witch Elves did their jobs. Another Doombolt marking Wulfric, just keeping his life on a timer. 2 more Doom Bolts away from death for the Norskan Lord. Not much he can do to avoid those bolts. He's not really fast enough. Maybe if you're on a flying mount that's crazy fast, you can dodge him if you're like an MLG expert player, but on horseback, Wulfric's just not got the speed no matter how well you click. Bounce power is in favor of Dark Elves, and I just have to agree, they have slaughtered the front line and are just consistently pushing Norska back and back and back. You can see Blaquenyte on the Dark Elves does fall back to the capture point. He's kind of realizing he doesn't have a lot of say in how the rest of this game goes. There's 3 skirmish cav. They all have superior speed to him besides his Dark Riders, but they can deal with the Dark Riders. So there's no reason to run his infantry all over the map and just tire them out. So he is trying to reform lines, chase down what he can. And he knows he's just going to have to weather the storm of these last few skirmish cavalry, and then when they run out of ammo, then they will be doomed. Using what mobility elements he has, he is going to harass those guys. Wulfric dives into Cold One Knights to stop them briefly, but Blaquenyte ignores him entirely. Still going after the skirmish cab. With a bit of charge bonus, these Cold Knights are keeping up, but they're not getting much damage out, as you can see. They're just kind of keeping up and getting picked off. Again, someone has to take the bullets. Might as well be the Cold One Knights, I suppose. Just wants to pressure him. Plague of Rust Overcast from the Shaman Sorcerer of Metal does make those Cold Knights only 30 armor, so the skirmish cav will do a lot more damage to them, but the Overcast damage on the Shaman Sorcerer is going to be rough, though I think this whole game is going to be rough at this point. Wulfric and the Shaman are surrounded by very tattered Cold One Knights, which a Searing Doom should get them some freedom, but it's not a lasting freedom. The balance of power very much indicates how I feel about this game. We are on the tipping point of just ending it with army losses. Could not agree more. One more Doombolt probably ends the game if the caster doesn't just do it herself right here. But one more Doombolt on Wulfric, but the bounce power in this desperate of a state is just too much. It's too much for Norska to bear. Let's see if I'm correct. Doombolt's coming in. It's an Overcast. He's probably going to die, which really guarantees what I've said. There we go. Army losses. Called it, because I am a professional game caster. Blaquenyte evens the series 1-1 on his Dark Elves. Though, as an elf specialist, he's running out of elves. Game 1 High Elves, Game 2 Dark Elves. I predict Game 3 or 4 we see Wood Elves. You said Game 4, that's spoilers, because we know it's not a 3-0. Hey, idiot, it's 1-1 right now. Of course it goes to Game 4, that's how it works. God, you're so stupid. You're so stupid, person out there listening. How dare you? Wulfric did okay, Caster did okay. Really spread values across both armies, but the Dark Elves just got higher values on almost all their units, so it was a full team effort, but just a really good counter build from Blaquenyte. Witch Elves churning through that Marauder front line and putting Norska on the back foot. That was pretty tough for them. Skinwolves also didn't have a lot of support, so I don't know how I feel about Navigator's build. Usually you see dogs just to support those skin wolves, so maybe cut one skin wolf and get 2 dogs if you could, just to give them some bodies to hide behind when they're fighting cavalry, because we saw multiple instances of just Golden Knights flat out fighting skin wolves, and that's not going to be good for the skin wolves. No wood elves for you. Blaquenyte still on the left side with Norska versus Slaanesh. See some marauder on marauder action, but there are elves in this game. Navigator taking a couple of those dark elf crossbowmen Slaanesh has access to. So let's see it. Marauder horsemen and riders of the mighty serpent. On the far side, more marauder horsemen, so no horse masters. A front line of basic marauders, 4 skin wolves, 5 Norskan ice wolves. One of them's a warhound, got it. So 4 ice wolves, 4 skin wolves, 1 warhound. Then we do have a shaman sorcerer of death with Fate of Buna and Spirit Leech. Very wide Norskan build. Near side 4 Slaanesh Hellstriders with Hell Scourges and the regular. 2 devotees of Slaanesh with their crossbows, some Forsaken and Hell Scourges. Then we have an Exalted Hero, a Chaos Sorcerer Lord of Slaanesh with Phantasmagoria and Acquiescence. Just looking at it, I don't know what Slaanesh can do here. They are redonkulously outnumbered. They are going to have a very bad time. I guess troop count isn't that bad, but the amount of units just feels like a Norskan wave is about to wash over them. And it's one of those builds where I don't know where the money went. Now, I know these players are both good enough to not like have 2,000 gold just sitting around. And I know I also constantly complain that the devotees of Slaanesh are overcosted. So having 2 overcosted units is probably where the gold went. But if you just look at these two, it's like, okay, you have a bunch of garbage. He has a ton of garbage. Why does he have so much more garbage than you? It's not like we have Chosen of Slaanesh sitting around that are obvious, or Nakari or Pleasure Seekers or something that's eating up all that money. This army just looks really fragile. So these 2 devotees better get their 2,000 plus gold value back. Fucking hate that unit. I hate them. I hate them. I've been on record about that. It's been a consistent narrative. I hate them. I think they're trash. I hate them. Moving on. I hate them. I'm done talking about it. I'm literally never going to mention them again. If it comes up in this fight, I will call them diddly-doo. I'll say the diddly-doos are doing well or poorly, but I'm not going to talk about them. He who shall not be named. Stalling aside, it seems like Slaanesh has decided they've had enough of this little early game. They don't have a lot of ranged superiority, so it's not like they wanted to delay the engagement. They were just trying to figure out how they wanted to tackle this. But Spirit Leech after Spirit Leech after Spirit Leech taxing the Chaos Lord of Slaanesh down. Slaanesh just decides they need to charge in. Basic Marauders versus Forsaken. Not going to go well for the Marauders. They are getting shit canned. But Norska has reinforcements. They obviously spent their money on their mobility elements, so Skin Wolves are going to dive in now, getting acquiesced. 4 melee defense for those Skin Wolves as Hellstriders and Hero Corps move in to harass them, but it looks like they're just kind of an entry fragger at this point. They are accepted to die a little bit, run away, and regenerate as the rest of Norska starts to pile in. So Slaanesh focused down one part of the front line and did very well with it, but the flanks are coming. Dogs from all directions supporting the Skin Wolf charge, and the Hellstriders are feeling the brunt of it as Skirmish Cap trying to get a little bit of damage wherever a melee has broken out. Now again, the Slaanesh front line is far superior to basic Marauders. They do seem to be winning that. Norska is down on the balance of power, though I think that is a little ambitious at this point as we get a beautiful dog surround onto these Hellstriders and diddly-doos. So that's very, very good for Norska. On the other side, the diddly-doos are still safe and sound, but they're not currently firing because they're being attacked by dogs, which there's going to be a lot of that. Norska wants to stall the game out. They have mobility superiority, so they can chase anything down that route. So they also have an abundance of healing in their mobility units, with all their Skin Wolves having regen. So going down in the early game isn't that bad as long as you keep mobility pressure up, so your Skin Wolves have room to run and heal. As Hellstriders try and chase off the Marauder Horsemen, they get side charged by other Marauder Horsemen as the Riders of the Mighty Serpent are nearby, but it does not look like they're going to be joining this fight as Hellstriders get a really good engagement on Marauder Horsemen that are acquiesced down to 0 melee defense. The Skirmish Cap move back in to get a little bit of damage out. Bounce Power still being absolutely in love with Slaanesh's chances this game, and I think this is very even, if not Norska favored at this exact moment in time. I feel like the diddly-doos do not have the room to sit and shoot like they would like to, and that Spirit Leech spam from the Great Shaman Sorcerer of Death is going to slowly spell the doom of the hero and lord of Slaanesh that are so expensive and powerful in melee. But your high melee attack and melee defense can't defend you from Spirit Leech, you fool! Punk ass. I don't know. I'm being a huge Norska stan right now and watch them just like lose this game and I look like a punk, but I'm confident in my predictions. I think they're going to be fine. As the diddly-doos get beset by doggos, Chaos Sorcerer Lord is thinking about coming in and helping out, but he does have 3 skirmish cav nearby. He needs to be careful. He's got 80 armor, no shield, no missile resistance, just 20% physical resistance. So he's getting poked down. And a Fate of Buna onto the diddly-doos. All right. Blaquenyte, not a fan of those shall not be named units. Just wants to get rid of them once and for all. This is questionable. Great Shaman Sorcerer of Death does take a fight with the Exalted Hero of Slaanesh. That is a horrendous mismatch, and he might get netted right here. What is that coming in? Yeah, he's going to get netted. Phantasmagoria. That could be really bad. Norska just took the Balance of Power lead for the first time all game, and now their Lord and Caster is netted down in front of the 2 combat heroes that can deal with him. Skirmish Cav are coming by to help out. We do have a Brave Skinwolf that's honestly way higher on leadership than I would think it should be for being Phantasmagoria and beaten to death. But the leader slips away. The Skinwolf's valiance is rewarded. And that is that. We do have some more Spirit Leeches. Again, 2 Spirit Leeches away from Chaos Sorcerer Lord just dying outright. Elsewhere, things are getting chased down. Skinwolves starting to regenerate up, but we don't have as many Skinwolves as I think anybody would like, especially the Norska player wants more of his Skinwolves to be alive. What are we at? 6 models? That's not a lot, unfortunately. If 16, that's a little better. We have 8 more here, but does he dare risk his healthy Skinwolves to try and save the other ones? I think you maybe do. Forsaken can't catch you, so you could just charge the Chaos Sorcerer quick, get some decent damage down, and then save your Skinwolf brethren. But it doesn't look like he's going to do that. He's going to prioritize keeping the healthier Skinwolf alive and well, which is fine. I think it was the correct decision to try and peel the Skinwolves. I think you could have gotten some free damage there, but I understand not doing it. Does end up working out, though, as a Narcissism army ability nets the Great Shaman Sorcerer of Death in front of the Exalted Hero. Exalted Hero gets a couple good hits in, but those Skinwolves, since they didn't save their friends, can save the Caster Lord, who does need to get out of here with his superior mass. Should be able to lock up that Exalted Hero and run away. Diddly-doos are back, the ones that did not get Fate of Buna. They are currently beset by dogs and skirmish cav. They'll be leaving shortly, and another Spirit Leech is out onto the Exalted Hero. I think he just didn't want to overcast it, so he cast it on the Exalted Hero nearby, which is fine, but I would like to see a little more sniping discipline here from the Norskins and, like, finish what they started. Take out the Chaos Sorcerer Lord to lower the leadership of the whole army, or if you're going to kill the Exalted Hero, then focus them, but having both of them just be low for quite a long time did prove to be a little costly. Chaos Sorcerer Lord does eventually get peeled off. The diddly-doos are shattered, and he's down to 500 HP next to the edge of the map. Probably won't be seeing him again. Capture Point has been trading hands in the background. Well, they haven't been paying attention because the mobility and Lord fight was what was going to decide the game at this point. There goes the Caster Lord. Now Slaanesh has no spells and significantly reduced leadership. Of the Chaos faction, Slaanesh has pretty good leadership. Generally don't suffer from it too much. Their whole roster having immune to psychology, helping a lot with that. Whereas I feel like Nurgle and Tzeentch have a little bit of trouble when their Lord dies. Slaanesh is a little more independent. I think Khorne is probably the best off if their Lord dies. A lot of their units just seem to fight on, even if Skarbrand dies for the 90th time. We do have some skirmish cavalry throwing at the backs of devoted marauders with hell scourges as basic marauders continue to fight them. Norscan Ice Wolves going to help peel. And 2 Spirit Leech left on the Exalted Hero of Slaanesh. That's how much time he has to exist. And we can see the Shaman Sorcerer has come over to make sure that timer starts ticking. So he's going to throw a Spirit Leech on him, run away, and then wait for the cooldown, throw another one, and the game's going to be over. There he goes. Do you have another Narcissism to net him in place? That's probably your last chance to win this game. It is a long shot, but it's not going to be the case. Army losses takes out Slaanesh, bringing us to 2-1 for Blaquenyte. Will my prediction hold, and will we see Wood Elves in game 4? Or were they banned away from Blaquenyte? Let's find out. Good damage value across his mobility stuff. Some of them got picked off, but them's the breaks when you fight Slaanesh. And this side for Navigator. Hero did okay. Lord really struggled to get his value. Forsaken did a ton of work. The diddly-doos together paid for one of themselves, so I'm gonna just take a mental victory lap. Elstriders did pretty well. GG's. See you all in game 4. Is it the last game? We'll find out. It was banned. I guarantee it was banned if he's playing Empire, not Wood Elves. It was banned. Banned. It was banned. I'm not wrong. You're wrong. Shut up. Blaquenyte Navi switch sides again because they're bastards. So we have Navi on the Vampire Coast versus Blaquenyte's Empire. Navigator fighting for his tournament life to stay in the Warhammer World Championship. His Vampire Coast need to win this game. And honestly, a matchup that I would consider to be Empire favored, though not with the build Blaquenyte brought. I'm pretty outdated on this, so I'm not trying to be a dick. It's just like, in my experience, Empire's favored, but you tend to get Huntsman spam. For the anti-large and the stalks, you don't take as much mortar damage on the way in, and then the Huntsmen are more spread formation. That's like the way I used to see it, and then I didn't see this matchup for such a long time because it was so cursed for the Vampire Coast that I may be a little outdated. Okay, all right, well, shit's happening. Real quick here, we have 2 mortars and 2 carronades, a lot of artillery from the Vampire Coast, then handgun mobs, a ton of them in a checkerboard formation with some hand cannons up front, some polearms, zombies, Noctilus on foot with Melkoth's Wind of Death, Drown Dead, and Invocation Hex, so a lot of spells from him, some animated hulks. For Blaquenyte, we have some Vanguard Pistoliers that are about to crash into the carronade, but while we wait for that, a couple more Pistoliers, 4 Empire Knights, 5 Crossbowmen, 1 cannon of his own, 5 Spearmen, a Foot Healing Caster, and Karl Franz up in the sky with Galmaraz and Reichland Runefang. Again, interesting to see Crossbowmen instead of Huntsmen. Pistoliers collide with the carronade, probably going to be able to take it out, but it looks like they are going to retreat in the face of the handgunners, so he's not looking for a one-for-one trade. He was just looking for a little bit of harassment, but that does not work out as the handguns take more than their fair share from the Pistoliers on the way out. They should rally before they hit the edge of the map, so I do think we'll see them again, but it's going to be difficult. And Pistoliers in general is going to be difficult. You could maybe say they were taken in case of Bomber Bat or Handgun Bat Kite or something. They're good against that, but I think that's literally all they're good against. They're outranged and outgunned by everything else the coast has, and they're not any good versus crabs in the late game. So I just don't really get it. I also feel like Huntsmen are also good against bats. Like, bats can't walk up on Huntsmen before they even get in range. They'll start getting shot by the stalked archers. So I don't know. I really don't like the Pistoliers. I'm just gonna be a whiner about this build. I don't like it. I don't like it. Blaquenyte's a clanmate of mine, so I can flame him. He knows how it is. He's also still in the tournament and I'm not, so, you know, take it with a grain of salt. So his group is a lot easier. I think we were in the same group. Whatever, I'm still just gonna baselessly say his is easier. Noctilus has thrown out multiple summons to delay the archers and just harass them, forcing one to run away. The other one's getting shot in the face with pistols. So pretty good for them. Pistoliers and Empire Knights did get on the back line, shutting down those carronades and mortars for good to give his crossbows a little bit of time. But the handgunners are ready to just reap souls of the various knights. Look at them go down, man. One Empire Knight's dead, another Pistolier's dead. The Pistolier actually did go off into the distance, so we lost 2 Pistoliers and an Empire Knight already. As the Vampire Coast is just going all guns, no brakes. I also disagree with the strategy a little bit here. Trying to suicide dive the artillery. It seems like you should probably be suicide diving the handgunners, because you can suicide dive the handgunners and artillery can try to punish you, which takes forever. But if you try and suicide dive the artillery, the handgunners can punish you, which does not take very long, as we saw. So I don't know. I'm questioning a lot about the Empire. Being a little overly harsh as Karl Franz has landed, is trying to distract this pistol mob, but in the meantime he is getting shot in the face by hand cannons and a regular cannon. taking him down to less than half HP as he retreats trying to get into the sky. He can get Earthbloods, but those will take a long time to heal him, and he actually is going to route Overcast or Earthblood. The Overcast damage takes the Jade Wizard down to half HP, and this has just been an unmitigated disaster for the Empire. Everywhere I look, things are going wrong. Franz getting gunned down, Overcast damage killing off your own Jade Wizard, backline getting shot to pieces as your Cav tries to shut down the handgunners. We are starting to get some momentum now for the Empire, but it might be too little too late. I've seen multiple hand cannons just disintegrating away. We have crumbling on the handgunners and carronades. Other Empire Knights are rallying back to get more damage out. So it's like, yeah, a couple things are going well, but another Noctilus summon pressures the last healthy crossbow further and further away. Pistol summons just being a nuisance. Franz is back. Now Noctilus is objectively overextended. Can Franz abuse cycle charging to kill him off? Like, that is maybe the only way they come back into this, but I don't know if that's even going to be enough as the coast is just advancing. They have a lot of guns left. They're busy just cleaning up the back line, not leaving any little crumbs of the Empire on their flanks, and Franz is going for it. So yeah, he just has to effectively cycle charge Noctilus down. You don't want to take any engagement for too long, so once your charge bonus wears off, you kind of need to go back and refresh it, whatever, but you can get really good damage down when you're allowed, and you do have a healing caster backing you up. There's an Earthblood. Stop overcasting it! Jesus Christ, I know you're desperate, I know that, but it is murdering your caster. Please stop overcasting that shit. Pistol summon out is a big problem though, because if Franz continues to fight Noctilus, they'll get shot in the side. If he fights the pistol mobs, then Noctilus gets away. But you can see what I was talking about though. He took half HP off of Noctilus in these charges, so Noctilus was definitely overextended and is suffering for it as Franz beats the piss out of him. But here comes that catch-22. Now the pistols are getting free shots on Franz's backside. The Earthblood caster is trying to save him, but doesn't look like it'd be enough. Earthblood caster is routing, and without him, Franz is doomed. Invocation Heck is healing up Noctilus, and Franz decides just to take a little peaceful walk next to Noctilus to end out the game. He's just like, you know what, buddy? All this fighting, all this violence, what's it worth? What's it worth? What's it for? It's for nothing. Crossbowmen are all trying to kill off the pistol summon, which feels bad. I get why he's doing it, but it feels bad to have to use real troops and real ammunition on a summon, but he needs to deplete them a little bit while Franz continues to chase down Noctilus. Tried to get enough damage out to prevent army losses, could not do it. And a pretty tough game for Blaquenyte, to be honest. Pretty tough game. A lot of stuff didn't go his way. Some unlucky, some just mistakes. And I mean, mistakes happen, but shit happens. Handgunners all did very well for the coast. Mortars and carronades. Ooh, there were 3 carronades, only 1 mortar. I thought I saw 2 and 2. Never mind. Only 1 carronade paid for itself. The other one struggled a little bit, but they seem to be more of a distraction carnifex to lure knights to their death. For Blaquenyte, Franz did okay in a very short game where he didn't have that many targets. Pistoliers struggled. Ended up doing okay-ish, but not amazing. Crossbowmen also really struggled. Only 1 paid for itself, maybe? I forget what their cost is. Are they 450? I think they're 450. Then if they're 450, 1 paid for themselves. If they're 550, then no one did. I forget their price. That's how little I see crossbowmen around. Spearmen just got cucked, but that's normal for them. So 2-2. Remember, Navigator's on the wrong side here because they kept switching up who's sitting in the damn replay. 2-2, going to a final game. See you there. Bip bop shoo bop dibbity doo dop tibbit bop poop pop pow. Final game: Bretonnia versus the Tomb Kings. 2 very meta factions. Bretonnia seeing a lot of play, domination and conquest. Lots of healing, lots of cav, lots of cycle charging, and Blaquenyte betting his tournament fortunes because whoever loses this game goes home on the Flying Knights. 3 Pegasus Knights, a Royal Pegasus Knight, and King Lewin Leoncoeur with his lion's shield. Sword of Crone, never mind. Looks like a lion on a shield, but sure, whatever, I guess I'm wrong. He also has 1 Field Trebuchet, 5 Peasant Bowmen, none of which brought their fire ammunition, and a pathetic Peasant Mob front line. 5 Peasant Mobs and a Spearman at Arms. That's gonna hold for a real long time. Damsel of Life with Earthblood. On the other side, for the Tomb Kings, we have the Chosen of the Gods, Ushapti Greatbow ROR, a Screaming Skull Catapult, so it's a battle of the singular catapults, 2 Sporkle Stalkers, one of which is an ROR, Kotep on horseback with his Bound Sandstorm, and then Protection and Vengeance spells. Sphinx Usef, very powerful anti-large combatant, as we all know, and he brought a Necrotect for the heal. Skeleton Warrior and Skeleton Spear, frontline and backline, and a couple basic Skeleton Horsemen. Very standard stuff. Scream Skull Catapult and the Chosen of the Gods take out various peasant archers to try and secure their box's safe position, but they're going to get bombed by Trebs all the while. Lewin dives in briefly onto the Chosen of the Gods, gets a little poke damage, takes out one of their models, but does need to get back up in the sky as the mighty Sphinx of Usek is going to punish him. The Flying Knights pick off some Skeleton Horsemen. They are in the sights of the Sporkle Stalkers, who unfortunately choose like the single file formation rather than a spread formation, but sometimes jank be jank, so they don't get nearly as many shots out as they would like. Pegasus Knights just diving straight in onto the Scream Skull Catapult, really want to save those peasants before they shatter. Because that's the main thing about the Scream Skull Catapult, is it's not the damage, it's just consistently routing the low leadership archers until they shatter off. Chosen the Gods, very damaged, as Lewin does dive in with Sword of Corone, reducing their armor, which is a big help for the Pegasus Knights, who don't have significant armor piercing. So that is a good combo, Lewin with them. You do see a lot of Alberic de Bordelot these days, but I think he brought Lewin specifically for the combo of the Pegasus Knights. Royal Pegasus Knights, incredibly injured, but luckily have 20 out of 24 models. If they back off and get Earthbloods, they can actually get back up to nearly full fighting strength as long as they leave and stop losing models. So that could be okay in the long run. Chosen the Gods, nearly dead. Sporkle Stalkers are both fine, and Lewin is in a big spot of trouble. Surrounded by Skeleton Horsemen and Snakes, he doesn't have the mass to quite push out of here just yet. He's getting close, but the Sphinx is on his heels. He might need some suicidal Pegasus Knights to get him to safety. He breaks out of the main surround, but the Sphinx is still on his tail, and I wonder if it will get his charging attack animation or if it's just going to slowly walk Lewin away. It looks like it just slowly walked Lewin away and then gave up on it. So unfortunately for the Tomb Kings, a little bit of jank hurting them there. Royal Pegasus Knights did not back off, and I do have to criticize this play. The Damsel of Life has not been in range this whole time to get any healing, and yet the Pegasus Knights have not been doing hit and run tactics. They've been really committing and taking a lot of damage, so it seems a little brash by Bretonnia. So far they're doing okay. They did take out the Screaming Skull Catapults. Now the archers are uncontested, moving in and getting damage in, which is good. We still have a Treb in the background firing at various things, but the Knights have been a bit too bold. Earthblood Overcast onto Lewin and a Pegasus Knight. This time it didn't nearly one-shot Blaquenyte's caster. Bounce power is about 50-50. Usurian's Incantation of Vengeance onto the Royal Pegasus Knights, who are already really low on models and trailing more of them. So it looks like they will get killed off. Not in their entirety, but they'll lose several models. And Kateb is really trying to walk this very healthy Pegasus Knight off, but enough of it got far enough away that it rallied. Royal Pegasus Knights down to 11 models, still ticking away with the Usurians, and they end up charging onto Skeleton Horsemen. Get a lot of damage down, so that ended up being pretty good. As Lewin and the boys continue to harass Sporkle Stalkers. Pegasus Knights working with him, another Earthblood to try and heal them up. It's Overcast, check the caster, caster's fine, so he's having a bit better luck on his caster RNG this game. As the Sphinx Usef chases off the Pegasus Knights, Lewin does not get chased off, however. He's going to stick it out and is going to start taking some damage from that big angry Sphinx. Pegasus Knights rallying on the far side, a big old flock of them. It seems like Bretonnia's got this game in good hands. Slight lead on the balance of power, but they have a ton of healing, so if they back off, if they play for the point, they can just heal up, get that balance power even better while ticking up on points. They'll be fine. Little problem is the Skeleton Warriors. They've easily gotten through the peasant mobs and now are starting to march towards the archers. You would hope Pegasus Knights would come over and sweep them away. It looks like that will be the case. And they get nice and close to the Damsel of Life for some healing, though she is walking very far away, so it looks like she wants nothing to do with the healing over here and is instead going to maybe give it to one Pegasus Knight on that side. Leaving them open to an Usurian's Incantation of Vengeance on the Royal Pegasus Knights, once again going to lose models. This is a series that is frustrating me because nobody feels like healing the units they brought the healers for. The Iron Demon, game 1, game 2, game 4, the Lifecaster just Overcast murdered himself all at the end to try and help Franz a little bit. Now this one, the Damsel's just not helping the Royal Pegasus Knights. It's pissing me off. Blaquenyte looks like he's going to win this game. I mean, he's got a really good handle on the situation, but it's still pissing me off. You're making me mad. Lewin's getting chased around by the Sphinx, but continuing problems with it not being able to start charge attacks on him for some reason, which usually it's really good at. Normally it's a really good unit for just killing off people because of its amazing attack animations, but it's just deciding not to use them versus Lewin so he can freely dive in and run away without much consequence as the Sporkle Stalkers are getting shot down by the archers. We did have the late game Ushapti summon from the Tomb King's army ability. It takes out the whole field trebuchet, though they will be back and they can remount, so they'll be okay. The Pegasus Knights are just going to sacrifice a bit of HP to lock down this summon. It only has 30 seconds left on the battlefield, so they'll be okay there. The bounce power is a little artificially 50-50. The field treb will be back. The Ushapti will fade away, and we'll get back into a Bretonnia favored situation. Knights fall back. For the love of God, can the damsel heal the Pegasus Knights? Please. Please. Please heal them. Conquest point is 50% of the way to a victory for Bretonnia. There is a nice juicy heal for the Royal Pegasus Knights that they desperately needed, ticking up that HP just a little bit. The archers continue to fire in. A restore is out onto the Sporkle Stalkers, so deciding not to save both of those for the Sphinx, instead just chucking them early since he has to. Tomb Kings, weirdly enough, still have the infantry advantage with only 2 skeleton spears. Those are better than everything Bretonnia has, so Tomb Kings have better melee infantry. They could force their way onto the point, but the archers just slowly reaping a deadly toll on the Tomb Kings as they march forward. Silver shields, only 20 armor, however. The Sporkle Stalkers do not have shields. See archers just trying to get their damage out before the final fight starts. Sphinx looking for anybody to deal with them. We still have a full health men-at-arms spears, which is the most elite infantry Bretonnia has ever fielded. Ever. They're pretty much chosen. I mean, what can you do against such reckless peasant spear? Lewin getting pushed away by the Sporkle Stalkers, taking a little bit of poke damage. And in the background, the Trebs seriously just ran off the battlefield. That's crazy. I thought they had plenty of health to come back, but sure, why not? Syrian's Incantation Vengeance on some more Pegasus Knights, really harassing them out. The Tomb Kings being a little too cautious, however. They need to get their bodies on the point. This fight needs to happen on the Conquest point, or you might just lose if the game goes on long enough, which with Bretonnia it will. It will go quite long. They have lots of healing, lots of mobility. They can back off and heal at their leisure. There, the Necrosphinx finally did the stuff that we're used to seeing. It got 2 really good charge animations on Lewin, and then stopped him and got a 3rd, and then hit him with a 4th as he was leaving. So, ton of damage out from the Necrosphinx. This is what Navigators wanted all game, and he just finally started to get it now. Balance power is back in Bretonnia's favor just slightly, but we do have 3 minutes left until they're going to win on capture points alone. The Tomb Kings have got to do something to get towards that point. Lewin's Sword of Corone was a bit wasted. I think he threw it down on the Sphinx and then lost that fight, so he had to run away. Sporkle Stalkers are dying to the Archer Fire. Spears are dying to the Archer Fire. Sphinx is very healthy. Kotep and the Necrotect are quite healthy. They just don't have the capture weight. Now Bretonnia can slowly filter peasants into the point to hold it and just die for the great cause while Lewin continues to heal up. Pegasus Knights get hit with another Usurian's Incantation of Vengeance. The Royal Pegasus Knights took a bunch of damage while I wasn't looking. They're down to 2 models. Just trying to hang out. Navigators making a push for the point. The Spearmen at Arms and peasants that are out of ammunition run forward to stop him, just putting their bodies on the line. And it does look like Bretonnia is just letting him go for a capture play. 2 minutes left on the clock. The main way they lose this is Lewin does something stupid, dies to the Necrosphinx, and then all of a sudden his peasants all start routing. So as long as Lewin doesn't suicide dive, they should be fine. 100 tickets left. That's about a minute and a half. Skullstorm out from Kotep to try and clear out those spears so that he can get to the point. The Necrosphinx almost is touching the point, but actually isn't quite on it yet, so he does need to move forward a little bit. There he is. And the archers continue to fire in. Now, some of these archers need to be brought in as melee combatants just to hold the point against the Tomb Kings. The Air Force can't do it. Even if they land, they have no capture weight, just so you know. Tomb Kings are taking the point. Uncontested by Bretonnia. I gotta say, I don't love that. You had 1 minute left until you just win outright. I know he's trying to get more damage out from his archers, but he should have moved this one that's out of ammo up a little sooner to just contest them, and it didn't even reach the point. It got stopped and terror routed, so yeah, the Tomb Kings are gonna take the point, making this game a little scarier. Because that Sphinx has done a lot of work, and you're still getting Usirian's Incantation of Vengeance on cooldown, and then they're healing it back up. But I'm just saying, you're not getting a ton of health in the sky, and at some point you're going to have to land on this big Sphinx. That's going to be a problem. One of the peasant archers still has a ton of ammunition. The other two are dwindling a little bit. The Sphinx is just starting to dodge. Dodging around. And the Necrotect actually is kind of a spooky item in the late game. That minus 24 melee attack and melee defense for anybody he manages to hit could make Lewin a bit of a wet noodle. Lewin doesn't have any bonus versus large or anything. He just has like decent base stats, but I mean, he's exhausted, so minus 24 would make him quite pathetic. The Sphinx is doing its best to continue dodging archer fire that is coming in. We have 1 volley left, 4 volleys left, 13 volleys on that other one. He's doing a pretty good job of dodging so far. And another Usirian's Incantation of Vengeance. My god, does that spell cost any winds of magic? You're just casting them constantly. 10 winds of magic, yeah, I guess. All right, Lewin dives onto the Sphinx. He is nearly heal capped. Sword of Corone is down, and this seems to be the big fight. Necrotect needs to try and fight for his life and reduce these Pegasus stats a little bit. Necrosphinx takes a lot of damage on impact. He's going to start trying to fight back, but it might be too little too late. Earthblood Overcast, yep, that is a big collapse in. Skullstorm trying to save the situation, but without the big Sphinx, there's just not enough damage anymore. And Kotep and the boys fall. Blaquenyte will advance after a 5-game series. Pegasus Knights did all right value-wise. Archers did really well, considering how cheap they are. Peasant mobs struggled. Oh, there were 2 spearmen at arms. I didn't see the second one. Field Tribe did okay. For Navigator, Kotep did pretty well. Spearmen did okay. Skeleton Horsemen mostly just got murdered. Both Sepulchral Stalkers did well. Sphinx Usef did all right. Chosen the Gods got sniped out, so did Scrimskull Catapult. G's. See you later. Roar.
Subscribe, yes.